but two of them I'm going to talk about this afternoon. One, the fight for our children and all people to be free from gun violence. And two, the fight for freedom to fully participate in a democracy. Both fights fully on display these last few weeks. So just think, in our country, already in the 104 days of this year, there have been more than 150 mass shootings. Already this year. Just think, you've seen the statistics? Gun violence is now the #1 cause for death of children in our nation. And a heartbreaking 1 in 5 Americans has lost a family member to gun violence. And you know, while all this violence impacts all communities in devastating ways, we know it does not do so equally. Black people are only 13% of America's population, but more than 60% of homicide victims from gun violence. Meanwhile, as Rev said, we speak here while the NRA is holding its convention in Indiana. Now, you know what they've called it? They have called it a, quote, freedom-filled weekend. So we must ask, freedom-filled for who exactly? Because it's not for the parents who pray that their children will come home from school safe, from a classroom in Uvalde or Nashville. Not for those who pray that their loved ones will come home safe from a bank in Louisville, Kentucky, from a grocery store in Buffalo, or from everyday gun violence in communities across our nation. Let us all declare enough is enough. Enough is enough. And here's the thing, the solutions, because there's clearly a problem, the solutions are clear. We must have reasonable gun safety laws at the state and the federal level. And by the way, most gun owners agree. Even the majority of NRA members support background checks for all gun purchases. So let's reject the false choice that some are pushing to suggest that you're either in favor of upholding the Second Amendment or you're in favor of passing reasonable gun safety laws. Let us reject that false choice. We're not falling for the okey doke. And let us continue to demand that leaders step up and show some courage in state houses and in the United States Congress to make background checks universal, repeal the liability shield that protects gun manufacturers, and to renew the assault weapons ban. And I see there are a lot of cameras here, so I'll say this. For everyone watching, please be clear. The voices of students, parents, teachers, and preachers will not be silenced, and these voices must be heard. These voices must be heard. They will not be discouraged or deterred, even if using a bullhorn becomes necessary. These voices will not be silenced. So it's an issue of public safety. And we also know here at NAN and all over our country, I do believe, that the right to public safety is not only about the freedom to learn in a classroom without fear of an active shooter, but it is also freedom to drive to one's mother's house without being killed by 5 lawless officers in a, quote, Scorpions unit. Rev, you and I were in Memphis together when you eulogized Tyree Nichols. And I will say today what I said that day. When we talk about public safety, was not Tyree a member of the public? Was not Tyree also entitled to the right to be safe? And so then, in the name of public safety, can't we all agree that when there is biased policing and excessive force, that it must be met with accountability? Can't we all agree that there is much we must do to increase public safety, and that includes the need for Congress to pass comprehensive police reform legislation? The kind of common sense reform that, by the way, many police officers themselves, including the Major Cities Chiefs Association, have called for. So,